Well, I'm baking up a mess of cookies for my daughter to take to work tomorrow. And you know, it occurred to me there are some tips and tricks that you guys might not be aware of. These things have helped me take best in show, first place. So if you're a competitor, these could be very useful. I have sold cookies using these things. And you know, it's just nice sometimes to have the best cookies at the potluck or the family thing or whatever. So I'm going to share my little secrets with you. Let's get to it. All right, so my first tip is that you make your cookie dough the night before and make sure you refrigerate it for 24 hours. This allows the sugars to cut into the butters. It makes everything nice and consistent. And I always want a chewy cookie, and you're going to get the chewiest of cookies if you make sure you do that. Next, and maybe most importantly, make sure every cookie on that pan is the same size. If you have 2 pans in the oven, you can have different size. You're just going to have different time cooks. But make sure on the same sheet they are all the same size, because otherwise you're going to get cookies that are crispier than others and better done and underdone and all that. And the way I achieve this is by using dishers, ice cream scoops. The best I've ever had are Vollrath, V-O-L-L-R-A-T-H. I absolutely adore them. They're the most versatile because, believe me, I put these things through hell. I don't have mine with me right now. Those are the best. I am using this big guy for these cookies, but if you want a good cookie, if you want them to all look the same, people always say to me, they look like they're from a bakery. How do you get them all the same? Ice cream scoops. All right, now my next tip is to give each cookie a craggly top, just like you see in the bakeries. And this is how we do it. We kind of turn it inside out. Okay, you've scooped out your dough, and now you're going to kind of break it in the middle, just like that, and expose the craggly underside and smush that together. There you go. Next thing I do, and this is specific to cookies that have chips in them, is after I've exposed my craggly top, I place a few chips carefully on top like this. Now, I prefer to use a baker chip to do this, or even to rough chop a bar of semi-sweet chocolate, or maybe kind of 72% cocoa dark chocolate or whatever, but don't have that today, so I'm going to use these. Now, I'm out of sea salt right now, but if I weren't, I would be sprinkling a little bit of sea salt on each cookie. That makes a nice contrast between the salty and the sweet. That's kind of specific to this type of cookie. You know, you wouldn't do that with like a snickerdoodle, for instance. So yeah. All right, now we're ready to bake the cookies. For chocolate chip cookies, for pretty much every cookie I make except for my brookies, my brownie cookies, and my snickerdoodles, I go 325. I think that low and slow wins the race because, again, I want a chewy cookie. Also, whatever your bake time is, I want you, if you don't have a convection oven, and honestly, even if you do sometimes, I want you to cut your timer in half. So if you are supposed to bake them for 10 minutes, you go 5, open it up, turn the pans, 5 more. All right, success. Cookies look great, they smell great, they're consistent, they're thick, they're craggly on top. Forgot to mention one little tip though, big one. Use parchment paper. You won't have to clean your pan every time. And the nice thing too is that if you've got a metal pan that's kind of uneven, a little bent, and we all do, it's not going to slide all over the place. You know, good cookies are really high in their butter content, and so they tend to kind of slip and slide as they bake. Use parchment paper. Anyway, I hope these have helped you to make the most perfect cookies at the potluck, church gathering, whatever it might be, because everything is a competition.